my loves. I am Esther McCann, aka Miss Manifester, author of Manifesting Happiness, and welcome to the Manifesting Happiness podcast. We are talking all things manifesting and creating your best life and debunking anything toxic like spiritual beliefs or societal constructs that stop you from living your best life. And today I am joined by the incredible Rosalind, Ros to her friends, Moody. She is the author of new book, The Spark, which I've got in my hands and I am so proud to be holding a copy of. How are you doing, Roz?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that lovely intro.
Oh, you're very welcome. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling very positive about the book. Yeah, feeling down to earth, nice and grounded, but also like optimistic. So I think that's the right balance of energies.
I think that's a perfect balance of energies. It sounds like the perfect manifesting, that sweet spot of I'm good, but I'm always excited for more.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready for more. I'm open to more.
I
I'm in gratitude for what I have, and there are exciting things in the pipeline. So I'm very, very excited.
I am absolutely chuffed for you. Just to give you another little bit more of an intro. So, Rosalind is a writer. She is the former editor of the UK's leading spiritual magazine, Soul and Spirit. Oh, no, was it Soul and Spirit?
It was, yeah.
Soul and
It
Spirit.
was on spirit.
Do you know what I thought? For some reason, I was just going, hang on, was it another one? No, I got it
Oh,
right.
they always got them mixed up. Don't you worry, you're not on your own there.
Whoops. This is makes me laugh this bit. She has been told off in every job she's ever had for talking too much and believes she has finally found a vocation for it. 100%.
Yes.
This book is gold. And as you said, like to me before we got on this recording, you're just so vulnerable, so raw, so straight to the point. You really do tell it how it is. And I think this book is going to be so powerful and so healing for so
I
many.
hope so.
So honestly, it really will. She's also a writing coach and also programs the Mind Body Spirit festivals across the UK. And we've got the Mind Body Spirit Festival coming up. Is it at Birmingham at the end of the year, November?
15th and 17th of November 2024 at the NEC.
Amazing, super exciting. She's also hosted events for Teal Swan and expert panels for LA-based shows like the Conscious Life Expo. This is important to me. She is a fierce campaigner for getting spirituality into the mainstream so that more people who feel lost can find themselves. Roz, this book.
Yeah.
So I've started reading it. I will confess I've not finished it yet. I
Don't
want
worry.
I wanted to have it finished before we got on, but I don't think it's necessary. But I'm loving it so far. I think what struck me the most was even on the first page when you were talking about your dating experiences.
Mm.
I was like, oh my God, it's like you're strumming my pain.
Yeah. Yeah, intentionally triggering you. That's what I like to do to my readers. I trigger them to heal them.
Oh my goodness, I think this is going to be universal for so many people. What inspired you to write this book in the first place? And what do you hope people really get out of it? Because obviously the tagline for it is sex, love, and spirituality in a toxic dating world.
Yeah, so always wanted to write a book, but this calling really found me, to sound like cliche about it. But I wanted no one else to feel as lame and as ashamed as I did about being single. And you and I have talked about guys and relationships before, and we're both like really, really passionate about finding our soul partner, and not necessarily soulmate to inflame all of that, just a partner to do life with. And while I was just pushing away that logo, that label as single person. Like my mum would say, have you not met anyone yet? Like what's wrong with you? And it would just drive a dagger in my heart. And if I can help a woman feel eased and more empowered when her mother or her friends have given that kind of energy to her, then I'll have done my job.
Oh, Roz, like I'm really sorry. I feel really bad. Like,
No,
really sorry
no,
that you went through that, but it is, isn't it? It's just, I guess it's like
it
projections.
happens.
It happens, and it's what people think like, oh, you need a person to be complete or to be
Yeah,
to be happy. I'll ask a really interesting question actually that's just come to my mind, and I wasn't intending to ask anything like
go
this.
ahead.
But do you think like maybe in a few generations' time, like people will stop kind of asking those kinds of questions? Because I
Yeah, I
think there's
do.
a shift there.
I do. I think it might take some time because really, my mum asked me that. My friends asked me, either are you seeing anyone? They really just want me to be happy. Like, but it was triggering me, and my reaction was kind of maybe I need to do some work which is what I share in the book, is the work to get me to a point where, no, I'm not, and I'm absolutely okay with that. But I think I saw a stat the other day that said like people, the aging generation in our country is like people aren't settling down and people are single into their 70s and 80s. And it's just changing the shape of society. So I think for the better, people aren't settling and they're not, most importantly, they're not staying in dysfunctional, toxic relationships, which is the first thing to get over.
100%. And I think what struck me the most is like obviously starting to read your book and about some of your dating experiences. And I think you and I are similarly attached.
Mm,
Like you're more on the anxious attachment spectrum.
yeah. Yeah, I was massively on that spectrum, like way so anxious. And then I needed to, I mean, I would have gone mad. My nervous system was so whacked out that if I didn't actually do the work, the self-love work in this book, God knows, I would have just been clinging on to bloody everything.
Yeah. Like when I was single, I did a lot of work to make myself feel like I felt really good with myself.
Yeah.
And obviously love boyfriend. I think boyfriend is great and is of no fault of his own. But especially with his job, like so he'll work 14 hours a day. It's mad. He also has a very like don't like being on my phone. Like he doesn't have his phone in his pocket.
Mm.
My experience of men ghosting me and
Oh, that's tough.
like it was literally like, am I being blown off?
Yeah.
You know, like because this is the thing that you just,
It's
law
so easy to assume it.
That's it. I was going to say law of assumption. You go, right, you take the previous story and you apply it to the
Mm.
next person. And it's I think one of my massive learnings here has been like for me anyway, is I can be comfortable in silence. I know I can be comfortable without like the validation of text messages and
Hmm.
things like that, which you started touching on in the book. But it's for me, it's been learning to take external circumstances and not interpreting them in the same negative way,
Yeah,
because it
for sure.
takes two to tango, right? Like you can attract someone different, but if you keep on seeing things in the same way.
Absolutely. That was the practical approach I took. I was like, I was going for all these fuck boys, if I can say that word, but they were
Yeah.
massive fuck
Oh,
boys.
please swear. We swear here.
They're spiritual fuck boys, which I introduced in the book, which is being talked about quite a lot right now, is the kind of guy who woos using the woo-woo. And
Yes.
he's toxic, but I kept going for people like him and then the normal mainstream fuck boys who just
Yes.
use kind of charm and normal things to woo rather than the spiritual woo-woo. And I kept going for them over and over again. And I was getting so unhappy and I was so numb and unfeeling. And then I get triggered whenever someone would ask me about it. And it was through no fault of my own. Like a lot of people do it as a pattern. We all, like a lot of our anxious attachers, go for the avoidant fuckboys who don't get back to us. And then we tell ourselves it's because I'm not worth it, I'm not enough, or I'm too much. And all
Mm,
of that bullshit in our heads that we can
mm,
reprogram using affirmations and all the glorious things I found when I was going on this journey that I share.
mm. But I think for me with this, like you say, picking these sort of spiritual fuck boys or just regular fuck boys, like I'd
Mm.
imagine everyone listening to this would probably identify more on the spiritual end of like, looking for people, but it could be anybody.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll come back round to that in a minute. But for me, it's that thing of, it's like the bad boy, and
Oh
you
yeah.
were the one that changed them. You were the one that got them to settle down and to stop playing about. And like, what an ego boost! Like every girl, I think,
Mm.
the idea that you were the one to get them there is the ultimate validation. And I think there's
Yeah,
something in that, like where girls are like stick around because they're hoping they can
yeah.
change. And it's also that like that feeling of, oh, they did choose me. Like I got chosen
Yeah,
after all.
I was the chosen one for
Mm,
sure. Oh yeah, I had to do a lot of reprogramming around that and saying
mm,
I choose myself. Actually, it's okay for me to choose myself if no one else is choosing me. And we talk about fuck boys, but actually I had a big whoa moment because obviously healing is like looking at yourself in the mirror and
mm,
everything is a mirror, obviously.
mhm.
That if we're attracting the fuck boys, does that mean that we're fuck girls? And kind of dive into that in the book and just
Yeah.
and look at yourself in the mirror and think, what am I telling myself that fuck boys are all that's coming back?
Mm. I think for me, like I take an approach of sometimes it is that literally like mirror to mirror, like almost like treat people how you want to be treated.
Hmm.
Because I know girls that have like just gone, oh, I just didn't reply, that kind of thing. And I'm like, but you
Mm.
want to be treated like that? Like you've said you don't like being treated like that.
Hmm.
Be clear, treat people as you want to be treated. Don't mirror, negativity with negativity. But I think a lot of the time I see it as you keep choosing the same type of people based on the level of self-worth that you've got
Yeah.
and what you're willing to settle for, which is exactly what you said. Did you find writing this book really healing?
Yeah, very. It was
Mm.
like therapy. And luckily, I was in some therapy when I was writing it. Towards the end of it, I'd got most of the way, but it just helped me get towards the end because there was a few days I was like, I don't think I should publish this. This is bigger than me. But of course, I'm glad it's bigger than me because I can't heal one person at a time in life. That's the beauty of a book, that hundreds of people can be healing and reading at the same time, or thousands, let's hope. So yeah, I did trigger myself a lot, and I looked at a lot of my patterns, and I I realized, oh, I pushed that guy away, but he was really good for me. Like when I started healing and I started attracting the good guys, I started like struggling again. So yeah, it was a big mirror for me.
I think that's exactly what you've like hit the nail on the head there, is that like I think you can only do so much healing almost like when you're single.
Yeah.
I think when you get into a relationship, it's almost like that person will start bringing up other, possibly completely other triggers that you've got no idea about,
Mm,
but you won't get them when you're not in anyone's company. Like I can completely see why people get that independence thing of like, it's
mm.
sometimes it's like it's safer to be alone because then no one's bothering you.
Yeah, and we can fall into hyper independence, which is not really our divine feminine, and it's not really the way the universe wants us to live. So we can go the other way of being too detached. But we're
Yeah,
so scared of being too attached. And we
yeah,
think, how do I get this right? I'm going crazy here. I'm too much,
yeah.
I'm too little, too
Oh,
attached and too detached. And then people like guys and dates who don't know you, they don't know the essence of you, they can project on you and call you defensive or call you insecure or all sorts of things. And it's just stepping back into our soul and swiping with soul rather than ego, because it's all up there on the surface right now. Our toxic dating world right now, which is extremely toxic here in London sometimes, it's really showing up that people are swiping with ego constantly.
have you put that in there, swiping with soul?
Yeah.
I was going to say, please tell me that phrase is in
Oh,
there
it's in there. It's
because
in there.
that just got me real good. As I'm working with clients, and obviously some of them are dating, and I'm being, really, really helping them go, don't swipe willy-nilly. Like swipe with, like you said, soul and intention
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
self-worth. Like when I was doing the dating in the end, what I did, this was me being, for me, the way I wanted to see it as like feminine receptivity was I didn't like Bumble.
Mm.
What I didn't like was that like we had to send the first
Yeah,
message.
exactly. It's
Um,
reversed. It shouldn't be this way.
right. So I didn't like that. And so what I did though in the end was I would let my I'd let my like likes build up, give it a day or two. Actually, I
Yeah.
think Tinder, I left it for fucking ages.
Mm.
I think I went on the app and went, Jesus, this is a nightmare. And I gave up, but I left it there. And I just paid. I would pay for a week. I
Mm.
would sit back and I'd go, right, I'm in my queen energy now.
Love that.
And I'd go, who is like, and I'd see myself a bit like literally a queen at the court. And there'd be a queue. And I'd
Yeah.
go, right, let's see what you're made of. And
It's
so
ladies' choice.
ladies' choice. So
Yeah.
rather than me spending hours just like mindlessly swiping and getting into a resistance spin, I was then like filtering
Hmm.
off and seeing who liked me because I was like, no, I'm not gonna put myself through this. That
Yeah.
strategy worked for me anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm happy with I'm happy
Yeah.
with the outcome, but
Yeah,
it felt
I bet you
right,
are.
felt good, like to be more, I
Be more
get it's
attractive.
that queenie receptivity, like seeing yourself as a prize.
Absolutely. Yeah, that phrase that if a guy doesn't like you, you're confused. But if a guy does like you know it.
Yes.
Turn that into dating. And when you lean back and crucially, stay warm, don't be standoffish, don't be cold, don't be too cool for you. When you lean back and you stay warm, they will show you if they like you. All you have to do is watch. You
Mm,
don't have to do anything. You just watch like a queen up on your podium, up
yeah.
on your throne. And you go, oh, I completely believe that he likes me because he's coming to me and he wants to show it. Guys are so confused these days of what role they play in women's lives. But if you give them a shape and a gap in your life to fit into, they love it. Put them to work. They want to be of service.
It's so funny. So obviously today I've recorded a previous podcast and we've literally just had a very similar conversation about
Mm-hmm.
the role of the masculine and where do men fit in. And I think that's it, is that a lot of women these days, it's absolutely fine that we've got our independence and that's beautiful, but we do need to find that way to lean back, to make space to allow men to
Yeah,
be.
exactly. To come to us. That's not to say that anyone listening to this is like, oh, but I really like, what if I really fancy a guy in a bar and I really want to go up to him? And if I don't, I'll lose my chance at the one forever. There are ways and means that you can signal to the guy to come to you. You don't have to go striding up. I used to be in my chaos energy phase, which is very hilarious, chapter 4. I would go up to guys and just like be myself, and which is quite forthcoming and quite but confident, and but it would be disarming to them and it would throw them off. And well, annoyingly, but maybe thankfully, one of my housemates, who was one of the couples I lived with, he was like, back off, like stop it. He was like, and I was like, what? I'm just being friendly. He was like, just stop it. Just let them come to you. And so now in the bar, I will try and make eye contact. I'll do all the things I recommend in the book, and it works.
Mm. It's got me thinking literally about manifesting and being magnetic versus
Mm,
being pushy.
mm,
And being that, like, I like talking about it from the human design point of view, but like the projector, like you are inviting, that your energy is just inviting,
mm-hmm,
and that you magnetize things rather than needing to be in that constant, well, like obviously with anxious and avoidant, the runner chaser dynamic,
mm-hmm.
but you don't have to be chasing like manifestations.
Right.
I
You
love
have to
that
be
that
chasing
guy told
boys.
you to back off.
Yeah, he meant it in such a nice way, and
Of
I did see his
course.
point. Um, but I was in a different place right then. I needed to do a lot of self-worth, and I really did eventually get around to it. But that chapter 4, that was it, just rolls and rolls of guys, different kind of guys, situationships, ghosts, all those people, all those things that people meet. And I had to go through it. So I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't not do it. Go through that phase, see if it works for you. But the more sustainable way is attracting, not chasing. Um, like the kiss chase idea, like let them come to you. And also to be magnetic that you just touched on. I find the best way to be magnetic in a bar or a social situation is to have done the shadow work, because it's like we're wearing chains and many, many coats, like in Friends when Joey's wearing everything that Chandler owns. Like shadow work has just taken off all those layers. Then when you walk into the bar, you look normal and you look great. And I've never been more magnetic than when I've done intense shadow work.
Yeah, 100%. When I was doing, and it was, this is what I was doing when I was single and it was fucking intense.
Mm,
Like the journaling I was doing was so intense. And but every night I went out on, like, and this is the thing, and I will say this, I say this with pride, Ros. I'm not like 21 anymore, like 30 at the time I was 35. And every night out that I went on, I met somebody on a night out. I'm not saying I
yeah,
slept with them.
yeah,
I had no problem ever
exactly.
with magnetizing somebody.
Yeah. I bet you lit up the room. I can just imagine you doing that because of your energy and the vibe that you're on.
But I can also, like, especially when I've got a partner, I can also put on this energy that literally says, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, it was like walk in and it's literally just like blinkered, like, do not even try.
Yeah. Well, we say, I say it in the book, Like we think guys are idiots. We think they're stupid, but they're really not. They read our energy
They
really
read the
well.
energy. They do. They read energy. So they do read energy well. Unless they're really drunk, and then sometimes they just don't. The
Yeah, but they do that on purpose. I feel like sometimes they want to opt out of the energy language,
right.
the energy conversation, so they just blast themselves with alcohol so that they have an excuse of being
Yeah.
ignorant. Like that's small person energy. That's not wise man energy.
Well, at the end of the day, I think this is important because what it is really about is your energy top trumps everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I say that about manifesting, and I would say the same thing on dating apps. Like, because some people do get really into their heads, don't they? Going,
Mm-hmm.
but there's so many people like, why would someone pick me? And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why wouldn't they pick you? Like I did so much work on myself and with my clients around think of all the reasons why someone would love you and would love to pick you. Like
Mm-hmm.
like see yourself as that prize. Stop putting yourself down or comparing yourself to like other people.
Oh yeah, stop that. When you actually start getting into your hermit era, to kind of quote Taylor Swift with the eras, like get into your hermit era, stop, block out the outside world
Mm.
and come back into your center. And you won't be, maybe you'll be comparing yourself to like 5 years ago, but it's all you. No one else externally will be influencing this. It's all you, baby.
It is. Do you think like so coming back round a bit to what you were talking about earlier? Oh, I feel like opening a can of worms. But yeah, do you feel like the spiritual fuck boys, as it were, or just
Mm.
or spiritual guys that they don't even know they're fuck boys.
They're
They're
just lost. They're lost
just
little boys from Never
lost
Never Land.
boys. Yeah. Do you think almost like they're more dangerous? Because I think I will be honest, like I think whenever guys used to talk to me about things like emotional availability and stuff, I'd be like, oh my God, I'd be like, he's so, in
Yeah,
tune.
red flag.
Oh my God, now, sorry, I will say this. So every single guy that wrote anything about or said anything about emotional availability actually as a thing turned out to be people, they were the ones that were emotionally unavailable.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
yeah.
I was like, how is this becoming a red flag?
Take everything on their profiles with a pinch of salt. If they say I'm the world's number one fucking gentleman, they're the world's number one fucking scoundrel. Like take it with a massive pinch of salt, a bucket of salt, because if they're flagging out, oh no drama, I don't want any drama, that means they don't have the emotional capability to deal with your not drama, actual valid feelings.
Emotions.
Yeah, which are you validated to have?
You're so right. It is like read between the lines, isn't it?
Yeah, just like, do you see what I'm seeing, mate? Like, do you want to take a step back and actually look at yourself and be like, this is this is interesting.
It is, isn't it? Are there any on apart from like in the UK? Like, have you heard about this where people around the world will say that like basically like in different countries, like each the guys and the girls will all have like a picture of the same thing. So like in the UK, it's a guy up penny fan.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've seen a
Yes,
few of those.
up a mountain. I made it. But apparently around the world, there's like different versions of this.
Oh, yeah. I do like a bit of Tinder travel, actually, a bit of
Do
Tinder
you?
tourism. So I'll look out when I next travel around. Tinder tourism can be really, really fun. But I think to go back to your earlier point with fuckboys, as long as you know what you're dealing with in any country, then you're fine. They're not dangerous. They're dangerous to themselves, maybe, but that's their problem. If
Mm,
you're interacting with them or sleeping with them, even flirting with them, as long as you're mindful of the energy exchange going on here and you've protected your energy and you're not going to get sucked in because you know that they're not looking for anything serious
mm,
and you very much dabble, but you
mm.
maybe dip a toe, but you don't put your whole leg in, which I used to because I'm like, have my leg. You'll really like it. It's a really nice leg. Like, are you sure you don't want it? Come on. And they'd be like, no, I never wanted it.
No.
So I just want your very pretty, like body on Friday nights, Saturday nights, post 10 p.m. And that's, like it was very casual and I wasn't up for that. But now I know what I'm dealing with because it's not like the fuck boys don't come into my sphere anymore. I
No.
see them and I choose whether or not to let them in and how much.
This is really important what you're saying. So the first thing I was just going to say is they're only as dangerous basically based on your level of self-worth and what you will allow and
Mm-hmm.
choose. And so it's really on you, like how much they pose as a threat to your nervous system based on where
Mhm.
you're at. But what you've said then is so important, because I think people think when they've done this inner work that all these people just disappear.
Yeah,
And my experience is absolutely not. If anything, it's just the more brighter you are, it's moths to a flame.
absolutely.
But I think what's really important is that piece in the story of recognizing it and going, yeah, okay, like they're still there. I just don't give them any of my time anymore. But some people get really, I think they create a story for themselves and get stuck in a loop of, why do I just keep attracting the same guys? Oh,
Mm.
nothing's changing. And it's like,
Because you
or
keep saying yes.
or all guys are the same. And it's like, no, they like they're still there. You're just, and the less you entertain them, the more you will just start finding better ones.
Yeah,
You won't
you
even
really will.
you won't even have the conversations, will you? One of my favorite statements that I use for me and for clients is I say, give me evidence of better men.
Mm.
And it's like just
Yeah.
opening myself up to like seeing, even if it was like just, a guy being a good dad to somebody or whatever, but it's just seeing like the masculine operating really
Yeah,
nicely.
you need proof. I had that with my dad and my brother. I was like, actually, maybe all guys in my life, in my world, in my sphere aren't bad. Like, look at
Mm,
the guys already in it and they're doing their best. They're loving me the best that they can. And maybe I could communicate how to love me better and I could set better boundaries and just use abundance to kind of give yourself a leg up.
mm. Yeah, that's it. Is I think what you've said there is so true, is creating a story that there is actually like obviously an abundance of good men.
Yeah, there are. So open your eyes to them because they might not be on your Tinder settings, but maybe you need to change your settings. Or maybe you need
That's
to choose a different app, maybe come off the app completely and do a different
mm,
singles night idea. So we have more power here than we think, rather than just being like, oh, well, they're the problem, not me. Again, look in the mirror. Where can we change us to reflect out better results?
yeah, like empower yourself, like change your messaging style. Like it's like if you keep, it's so difficult, but it is like if you do keep getting the same result, this is in any manifestation. If you keep getting the same result, eek, but the common denominator is you.
Yeah. And tweak something and play with it. Like we take life so serious and it can be serious and it can be heartbreaking. But with things like dating, which is meant to be fun, and friendships, which are meant to be fun also, play with it. Like tweak one thing, like talk to one person that you wouldn't normally talk to, or give an icebreaker that you wouldn't normally use, or wear a different type of outfit that you wouldn't normally, like tweak things and see the difference straight away in real time. And then
Mm,
it gets addictive.
it does, and it becomes more playful, because I think this is it.
Yeah.
It's bending reality and yourself is just, it's just Play-Doh, right? Like clay, like just being more playful and saying, oh, like nothing is that serious. Like I can
Mhm.
always change something and switch it up and get a completely different result, which again comes back to the whole like you're the creator of your reality. But I think especially where dating's concerned, people can, and some other topics like money, people can feel very powerless.
Mm.
Like
It can
it's
be quite scary as well to do it one step at a time, obviously.
mm,
Using people like in your services to really hold space. Like we use friends, we can use professionals, we can use our journal to really hold space for us. And one step at a time. And the thing that people ask me most is, I know how to, okay, I get it. I know how to manifest, but like I don't know what I want to manifest. Like one thing at a time. Ask for like a blue bird or a green boat or something, and then start small and be like, did I like that bluebird? Nah, I'm gonna ask for a pink one next or
mm,
something.
mm.
And before you know it, your Twitter, like the old bluebird, is like right in your phone. You're like, oh, I saw it, I did it. Okay.
Yes, that is so true. Like it just, I always say that, like, especially if somebody's not got much experience of manifesting, is start with, even though we are limitless, but start with something believable,
Yeah.
or it's something that you don't care about, like just to build that faith process of like, oh, there is actually something in this and it does work. But
I
I'm a
love that.
big believer with um always manifesting on feelings, but there are like, I think where partners are concerned, there's quite a lot of specifics that you should be manifesting. Like I think about, right, how do they treat me? How do they treat animals? How do they treat their family?
Hmm.
How do they speak about other people? What is their interests? How do they communicate? Like, I think so much about all of this stuff because it just helps to sift at a vibrational level. Is this my
Filter.
person? Yeah, to filter.
Yeah.
Have you got any specifics of what you're looking for? Let's put it out there.
Oh, yeah, this is a great way to broadcast my energy. So, in other podcasts, people have asked me, so are you seeing anyone now? Like, do you have a success story? And actually, my success story is the fact that I'm very happy and fulfilled single because I know my standards, I know what I want. And so far, I haven't gotten that, but I haven't even been putting it out because my energy's been better spent elsewhere on
Yeah,
my own life.
yeah.
But if it was going to be someone, and I do feel them stepping in the next few months to year, because my life here in London is kind of brand new, so I'm finding my feet. But if it was going to be someone, they'd be very reliable, like acts of service, never cancel. I've got such a big problem with people who cancel because it's just broken energy. Like I've expended my energy and now you've kind of tossed it away. They'd be, I don't know, tall, dark, and handsome, but actually they don't have to be. They
Mm.
could be, I quite like a guy stocky, kind of rugby dad bod. Love that. I'm not fussy when it comes to like the surface level things. Like he can be older than me, younger than me, um, which doesn't help when you're setting Tinder profile settings or Bumble, but I'm
Oh,
kind of open. I just know that because I'm open, I can filter and I can say no. So I clear the path for the yes. And then when I've got the group of people I'm saying yes to, I can filter even more and I can just go on feeling of who I'm like thinking about, daydreaming about, and kind of can be very conscious rather than the yes, 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 I was giving out to bloody everyone.
it's so true. I like what you said though about like being quite, you're kind of like going a lot more on who they are rather than like surface level kind of things. I think for me, you're gonna laugh. I've definitely got like what some a type, maybe a bit of
Mm,
a type. Like they don't look the same, like, but like there's a few like baseline things that seem to set me off.
hmm.
Like I don't mind about hair color, but I don't like brown eyes. Like I've got my own brown.
Oh,
You're gonna laugh, but I've got my own like, brown eyes to look
well,
at.
I'll do that in the relationship. Thank you. That'll be me.
Yeah, I've
And you
got
do
this
something
covered.
different.
I like blue or green eyes. There's like a few things like that where I'd just be like, okay, I've got some little things. So I did used to put that. For me, it was just like just want to go no matter what, as long as I'm attracted to them. That's really important
Yeah.
to me
But
because I did do a big list.
I bet you did. And and it's obviously worked.
It did work, yeah. It
But
was
I
good.
think I need to reread my own book because I was such in a place where I needed to heal myself and I was writing it, knowing what I'd want to do. And I think as long as there's friendship at the heart of it, every friendship, every relationship I've ever been quote unquote jealous of, but jealousy just shows us what we want. So it's okay. It's a flag. It's not a bad thing. Then it's always had friendship at its heart and flexibility as well and empowerment and coming from a history of codependency and toxic and narcissistic relationships, the freedom rather than control is a big thing.
Oh, massively. I've been in relationships where I'm not going to sit here and say that any of my exes are specifically narcissists, but there's a lot of traits, let's call it.
Mhm.
There's some traits, and there has been across the board. And yeah, there's definitely been things where I've, just felt like I can't do things, can't be myself. It's like, oh,
Big red flag if you have to censor yourself and
oh yeah,
contain yourself.
yeah, hugely. And it's nice to not have to feel like that. It's nice to
Oh,
just
so
be your
happy for you.
thank you. It's nice to just, yeah, like I do still get like pangs though of going like, am I too much? Um, you're gonna laugh, but once I've had a glass of wine, I do not shut up.
I know that, but I love that. That's great. That's a great thing.
So we were in the pub the other day at lunchtime. I hadn't eaten and had like this big glass of wine, and I only had about half of it. And I just was like, oh my God, I'm just chat boxing. And
Yeah.
I went, I'll shut up now.
But like it's great to be yourself, to be able to be all colors of yourself. And I think that the true person will love that in us, rather than be like,
Yeah.
shut up, you're being annoying. Or
Yeah.
maybe even if they're like being annoying, they're like dry about it and cute about it. And I
That's,
just want someone I can chat shit with.
yeah. And you'll have that, you'll definitely have that person. Somebody's going to be like, damn, look at that. Look at that. Who's that?
Look at that little girl there, that little
Cruise,
woman who 5
cruising
foot.
across the bar, all
Yeah,
magnetized to you.
yeah, come on in, guy. Let's see what you're all about.
I think someone you can chat shit with is really important. What you said there about friendship is the foundation, I think, isn't it? Is that would your friends try and control you? Would your
Mm,
friends talk to you like you shit? No. And you want somebody that is at the, because as well, the other thing is like you trust your friends and you would go like, I know I can trust that person that, they've got my back.
yeah, yeah, and choose your friends wisely because that those people that you really want to be around who can give you the space, hold space for you to be yourself. The same with relationships.
Do you have any comment on that when it comes to like the company you keep in terms of let's say like single friends, sometimes when you're single, you've got other single friends and actually their narratives and their stories aren't always good for you and where you're at, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't have that many single friends. I mean, I have more now. I've moved to London, which is great. And yeah, it really does say a lot about them as to the narratives that they say. But a lot of them are quite enlightened, which is good. I don't think I would attract them as friends if I wasn't, because if
Mm,
I kind of quite spiritual in the way I speak anyway. So if they were like, "What are you talking about?" then we wouldn't be friends. So like, take the ones you like and leave the ones that are not for you. Like, leave them for someone else. Just
mm,
like with spiritual modalities, just take what aligns with you and don't take any offense and don't give any offense to the ones that don't.
mm. I think it's just always remembering that someone else's story and experience doesn't have to be your story and experience.
Yeah, a lot of my friends' boyfriends and husbands scoff at me with the spiritual
Ah,
ideas and ideals, but I'm like, well, you don't get to access this magic then. That's fine. That's you do
no.
you, I'll do me. We both love your wife, my friend, and just be nice. Be nice to people, we're nicer. But that says more about them.
Yeah, it's really that thing, isn't it, of like literally what you just said is like it's the classic thing that somebody says in like a tarot reading, isn't it? It's like take what you want and leave the rest. I think you even said it in your book.
Mm,
It's like take the principles that resonate, and the ones that you don't worry about. It's not of
yeah.
not concern.
Don't poo-poo the woo-woo, basically.
Don't shit on my woo.
Yeah, don't shit on my glorious rainbow parade.
But it is, but the get again though is like some people's version of woo and manifesting is very different. Like I'm very, I'm extremely down to earth. I'm
I
very,
love that though.
I'm very grounded in the like. I it might because I'm an earth sign. Like I'm very in that kind of like the more kind of pentacles energy and the like the physical realm. Whereas some people are a lot more in their feels.
Mm,
They're until they're like, ecstatic dance or, astral projecting and stuff. And it's like, that's totally fine. I've got no problem with that, like
mm.
whatsoever. It's just not how I connect. And but just because it's not my bag doesn't mean it's not valid.
Exactly. And you might get into it in the future
I
and
might.
love what they were on about. But yeah, I'm not so watery. I'm not in my kind of I don't love scuba diving. I'm not into astral projection. Like I'm in the air and I love a bit of earth. So, but yeah, don't shit on things that people love because they're just gonna dislike you rather than the thing that you're talking about. Just try not to influence people.
And it's this is it. It's spiritual ego, isn't it? It's like,
Hmm.
I'm more spiritual than you.
Yeah, it's all a one-upmanship, but like actually if you step back and you stop comparing, then why are you trying to one up? Like get to the bottom of it. Like why are you trying to prove that you're better than anyone else? Is it because you actually believe that you're less than other people and you're
Right.
trying to paper over it? Because that's not good to my friends.
No, it's not good. But I think lots of people have been there. I'm gonna bring a
Hmm.
completely different. I'm gonna move away from that for a sec because there was something you said at the beginning, and I want to touch on it, is about just like manifesting your person, but not needing to put a label on it of soulmates or twin flames.
Mm.
I don't mind soulmates so much as a concept. I think we've got many soulmates, including friends as soulmates. But twin flames, what's your stance on that? And do you think like, well, A, do you think it's actually a thing? And B, is it something that people should be aiming for it, or is it being like glamorized?
Yeah, I think it's been glamorized. I
Mm,
don't buy into it myself. Um, we're twin flames with everyone if we're a mirror to everyone and everything. There was a guy that I thought was like Wuthering Heights, like a part of me. Like I was like, we're made of the same thing, Heathcliff. And he wasn't. He was a bastard. Like I'm not made of the same thing as him. I thought he could have, if twin flames existed, it would be him. I do not want him as my twin anything. No, thank you. So I will be part of a soulmate partnership. That's fine. But twin flames, I think some things in the spiritual industry, some things get overemphasized. Um, yeah, and twin flames, I think by definition, aren't meant to stay in your life always.
no.
So they're meant to kind of come in and out and teach you lessons. Like that's the point of them. So I want to live in the practical realm as a human being. And if there's someone I like and care about, I want them to be in my life, please.
Right. I think this is the thing for me is, yeah, like you said, if you want someone around and you want stability and you want a nice calm nervous system,
Hmm.
somebody who chooses you and you choose and it's nice and it's stable is just so important. I think what I find concerning about the twin flame thing is it does sound incredibly like the anxious avoidant,
Yeah, it's intense by the sound of it.
the dance of someone is constantly running after somebody else and the other person is chasing. And again, if people believe in twin flames and you guys are in a twin flame union and you're really happy, there's absolutely fine and there's no criticism. But I think sometimes it gets over romanticized.
Hmm.
I think because it gets the twin flame label suddenly gets put on it, suddenly it almost makes it acceptable for that person to just like keep ditching you.
Yeah, because you put them on a pedestal. They're like, oh, they can't do any wrong in my eyes because they're my twin flame and we're made of the same thing and they'll never hurt me or intentionally harm me. But people can be dicks still. So I think we can't put people on a pedestal of we're one and the same. People are their own people, and we've got to hold them accountable for that.
And holding ourselves accountable to making sure that we're good and that our
Mm.
our needs and our emotions are not going on the back burner in all of this because in order to be magnetic, you do have to draw your energy back to you.
Yeah, exactly. You need to keep the fire burning inside, please, rather than in someone else that you've invested in and camped out in. Like you can't camp out on other people.
Mm. Before we wrap up, have you got any kind of like conscious dating tips that you want to impart to the listeners?
Oh, so many.
Oh, all of them.
Oh, just they're all wrapped in the book, but
Of course.
if I could give one pearl of wisdom that I learned, and I think I mentioned it already, it's lean back, stay warm. Four very simple words, but you lean back because your energy is queen-like on your throne and people come to you. But crucially, you stay warm. You don't act like the cool, floaty, I'm better than you kind of energy girl. You don't stay cold. You don't get passive aggressive. You stay really, really nice, really yourself because you don't want to be anyone else. That the person is just they're showing you their colors, but you stand firm in your colors. I think we were saying about it earlier with any kind of troll like people. You wish them a great day. I thank you so much for your feedback. Have a great day. Enjoy anyway. So if someone is playing you around or ghosting you or something, then, or maybe not ghosting you, maybe your nervous system just feels like they are, just
Mm.
keep warm, keep nice, and don't let your energy be dragged down, but don't overstep the mark in terms of like doing too much and going over your 50%, going over the counter, as I say, because you can't lean over a counter when you're having a discussion.
Mm.
So don't lean in too much, which I learned the hard way.
I've learned the hard way on that. Like I have to do it for myself, but it's like I'm quite aware of like, and it's you don't want to play games, but it's about me. It's about like triple texting, like overly like
Yeah,
that kind of behavior. But you're so right, is stay warm and lean back, but it's if you're grounded in who you are and know that you're worthy of love and knowing that somebody can also give you love, I think that can allow you to stay warm. Whereas
yeah,
I think it's having the assumption that everyone's a fuckboy and everyone's out to get you,
mm,
are like, or that you've got to protect your heart is what gives the coolness and brings the
yeah,
class in.
yeah, yeah. When you're really in your center, it's easy because no one can affect you. You've got your energetic armor on, and you won't help but lean back, and you won't help but stay warm because you'll be in your authenticity. You won't be playing any game. You won't be playing any part.
Yes, don't be an ice queen. But like you said, it's if you're really good with who you are, single at a core level and feeling like, and that you love yourself, it's of no loss to you if that person
Yeah,
does,
exactly. You're not
does
meant to
it.
be with me then. That's fine. If you're not interested, honestly, have a great time with someone else and someone meant for me will come along. So you're just clearing the path. So honestly, thank you so much.
Yeah. And I can only speak really from, because obviously I always say this on whether it's a podcast or YouTube or a post or anything. I always say like it is that take what resonates and leave the rest. Like anything that we experience that we're like, I don't want to take that on as a truth is totally fine. But especially if I'm finding myself triggered, like my only piece of real guidance that I would give to anybody like in these situations is I always ask myself, what am I assuming here?
Mm,
Evidence do I have of this? And what else could be going on? And what story do I want to tell about this
yeah,
person and stuff like I challenge, it's really calmed down. But I've had to challenge myself time and time again when I've been spiraling out, like, there's
yeah,
nothing wrong.
yeah.
Freaking myself out over nothing.
I had that last night. I
Mm.
found myself in a really negative thought spiral, and I was like, "Oh, this could be really dangerous. This could really take me to somewhere I do not want to go." And just catching yourself, and even if you're not got the energy to bring yourself back up the spiral, just catching yourself before you go down and thinking, what narrative is this a narrative? Is this fact? Because when you start talking to a really good guy about a good friend, even about a guy, and they'll go, is that true though? Like, how do you know that he's playing you against someone else? Is that true? And you go, no, he didn't tell me that. I just assumed. They go, right, well, maybe it's not true. Then maybe he's just busy, and maybe he's just not into you.
But that's a really great friend. Like, because I think there's a lot of girls out there that will just be like, oh my God.
Oh, well, yeah, all of that.
Like,
Like, I can't believe he did that.
right, they just feed it. And
Yeah.
this is what I think I was leaning in on earlier is like trying to find those people who won't necessarily feed your stories or feed your insecurities or project their own in the mix.
Mm,
Is going like find those people who can also lovingly challenge you on that
hmm.
because this is what I see how I see manifesting is that exactly that. Like if you've got that assumption that he's playing you, for example, then your energy is going to go all over the place. Like you might show up with depending on the person, like more needy energy because
Hmm.
you're trying to be like the best and it shows and it's a bit like it's a bit odd. Or
Yeah,
you might pull back and they're like, what the, why
yeah,
why are you pulling back? I haven't done anything wrong.
exactly.
Who you are and the way you show up to the table then becomes massively influential in the dynamic because it's the energy exchange. So I think you like checking your assumptions. And for me, what one of the biggest things was that I had like all these crazy scary spirals going on inside, but I'd like to think I'm going to say touch wood, but I'd like to think I never let them show. It didn't crack. like I didn't I didn't let my behaviors manifest from what.
Oh, amazing. So
But
you blocked your bad negative patterns, which is amazing.
yeah, but like God, like you said about like shadow work and self-awareness. Whoo, God damn it. It's so
Yeah.
hard. It was so hard because, but I was just like, I'm not showing up and doing that again. And do you know what? Even just on another quick note, like, you know, I know my daughter finds it challenging when I'm in relationship
Oh, bless her.
based on the way she is. And so this time I've had to look at things and go, right, where can I do something differently?
Mm,
Because also how I parent could also create the same loop again, because she needs me to do something different this time.
mm.
So I'm
Take
all,
responsibility. It's amazing.
yeah, like, but I think this is it, is I think a lot of people go, oh, you know, I'm manifesting my person and I can't wait. I'm going to get them and it's going to be like, and it's like, I'm not going to sit there and say it's not going to be beautiful, but I think a relationship is a lifetime choice and commitment and it will involve doing work.
Oh yeah, it's not the finish line, it's just the start
Oh
line.
no, no.
I
But it's
used to think it was the finish line. Like, oh, if I just could get into a relationship, I could just relax and everything would be easy then. The struggle would be over. It would just be an even closer mirror. Start
right,
with the mirror to
right.
yourself, and then you can be a better partner when they come along.
That's so it is learn. I think that part of it is just going, yeah, learn the self-awareness, learn how to mirror yourself, learn how to consciously communicate and
Hmm.
just bringing those in, being able to bring those ingredients ready for the person. But this is exactly what we were talking about with our books. It's the same thing, isn't it? We were like, oh, we're going to create our books and that's the finish line. And it's like it's not the finish line. Like the
No
book,
way.
it's not like the publishing, of course, is like, wow, what a moment.
Yeah,
But then all the seeds that plants and the impact, it's just the beginning, isn't it?
it very much is. Yeah. So if anyone is single and listening to this, then plant seeds now because you'll get the flowers when you're in that happy relationship that you want, and none of it is too small. But using the single time to be proactive and practical is what we ladies do best. Humans do best. We all want to be useful. So be useful to your future self by
Mm.
working on yourself now and spending that time alone and knowing your triggers and your patterns and being self-aware. It's not like I know it seems scary, but no one's judging you, no
No.
one's shaming you. You're kind of doing that to yourself. So hold some really safe, self-loving space, I would say.
Rosalind, you are a diamond, and this book is going to be just so healing and so influential for so many women who need to show up to literally sex, love, and spirituality in a toxic dating world in a different way.
Yeah.
Let's flash the book. How can people
Yay.
connect with you, and where can they buy your book?
So you can join me on my website, rosalindmoody.com. There's some book resources there, some book club questions, some helplines if you're triggered, some other fun bits. Instagram is a good behind the scenes aspect from My Body Spirit Festival and the book and launches and podcasts and some readings from the book and basically my journey of how I went from just journaling all these notes for the book to actually publishing it and going into bookshops and all the fun things. And yeah, see you there. That would be great to have you guys on Instagram with me.
Ah, please do go and follow Roz. I will pop all her links in the podcast description and I will also pop them in the description on the YouTube video. We have loved having you here, Roz.
Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say where to get the book, but
Oh
obviously that's
yeah,
the
where
whole
to
main
get
thing.
it? Oh,
Am
good old Amazon.
Amazon's good if you want to go down that way. It's in Waterstones and it's in select indie bookshops. Or you can order it through any bookshops, or you can order it through my publisher, September Publishing. But my website is a good place to start because it's got links there.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And
Thank
obviously,
you.
guys, please do, if you do buy the book, please do leave Rosalind a review. Like, I think this is something that I'm on a bit of a campaign, is
Yeah.
like this is me getting my violin out now. Like my
No, I know what you're going to say, but I feel it.
my book hasn't had that many reviews, and yet I have had so many people tell me how impactful it's been. And I'm like, but like, even though I don't want to advocate for Amazon because
Right.
Go to independent bookshops to buy it, support independent indie bookshops. But the great thing is, if you do leave an Amazon review, people really do trust that. And
Absolutely. It
it's,
helps debut authors so much more than you can ever know. If you want
yeah,
a good karma, a little 5-star, 4-star, whatever review you want to drop, but it really helps other people find their healing.
100%. So please go and get the book, read it, love it, enjoy it, review it. We're sending you back the good karma.
Thank you. Yeah. Have some spark back.
Have some sparkles on us, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the next episode of Manifesting Happiness. Bye, guys.